I got invited to a couple of different Iron Bowl parties Saturday, but I think I'm gonna turn them down now after us losing to Oklahoma. I've got to worry about Survivor Series now.
You guys are probably crush Auburn.
Yeah, it don't matter though. We're gonna end up in like a B tier bowl at this point.
That's what I was just telling Adrian. I was like, I hope USC ends up because Big Ten play a lot of bowls in Orlando. So I was like, hopefully,
Ooh, that'd be good for you.
yeah, I'm hoping. I'm keeping my fingers crossed here. Welcome to the Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast, powered by the Suplex Dinner Club. I am one of three hosts, Bradley, and I am going to pass the ball along to my other co-host today.
What is up? What is up? It is Eric. We're getting into the final weeks of fantasy. It's
Yes.
interesting to see how everything's about to shape out, and who's making the playoffs, who's not, who's going to be sitting on the bench, who's not. Gotta love this time of year, especially on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving week.
Yes, this is going to be an amazing week. Again, Thanksgiving is coming up. It's a tradition to watch those Thanksgiving games with those plates, so I cannot wait. As you guys notice, Zach is missing, so he's probably celebrating his birthday and that Auburn win yesterday. So we want to send Zach a salute. Hopefully, he pops in on us. Um, but if not, most definitely salute, and he will be back next time. So let's talk about it. Majority of fantasy football leagues trade deadline passed last week. So, with that being said, close to the deadline, were you able to make any deals out there, or was there someone you were going for and you were not able to pick up?
So I actually, yeah, I almost made a trade that I wasn't able to pick up because we agreed to the deal and realized the day before the trade deadline was up. So
Wow.
we went to go push the trade through, and it didn't go through, and it was with the commissioner, and I'm like, what did you do, bro? Like, did you go ahead and kick it off? Like, and he's like, no, I just realized the trade deadline was yesterday, and I was like, damn, because that was my one need.
Okay.
I was gonna deal my second round pick in our rookie draft in 2025 and 2026, and either Devon Vale, Jalen Coker, uh, or Jalen Tolbert, one of the three, for Mike Evans.
Okay.
This was a team that was stacked top to bottom, was projected to probably be in the top three with me and my other buddy that are in 1-2. And he had Debo, he had Mike Evans, he
Mm-hmm.
had Brandon Ayuk, like all CMC, like anybody that you could think of that was injured this year was injured. So he said it's time to sell off. We got to get younger, but I waited a day late and I'm a buck short. Now I don't have a good wide receiver.
So I'll be honest, wide receiver this year was an absolute weak point for me. I had Stephon Diggs and Olave, who ended up both being injured and did not service me. So I was able to flip Olave for Devontae Adams.
Yep.
There's a guy who was hoping Olave came back, but here was the kicker. So there was a guy in my league who wanted the Kirk Cousins Drake London stat. So I was able to flip Kirk Cousins, Devontae Adams, and Bucky Irving for Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, and Matthew Stafford, which
Damn.
pretty much shored up my wide receiver room. So now I have Tyreek Hill, I have Bijan Robinson, I have Saquon Barkley, Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison, and DeAndre Hopkins going into the playoffs along with George Kittle. I feel
Get mad at that.
100% confident in my roster now, and I'm ready to make a strong push. I was the champion last year, and I am looking to go back to back. And speaking of those playoffs, it's about that time where now, if you're playing on Yahoo or any other platform, you're starting to see certain teams are locking up their spots. Me, I'm top three. in my league with a record of
Mhm.
7-3-1. I have the asterisk by my name on Yahoo, so I am locked into the playoffs. Eric, talk to me. What's your record? Are you locked into the playoffs? And if so, are you at this point playing for the matchup? Is there someone you're looking at like, yeah, I hope I get this guy first? What are you thinking going into the playoffs? If you're there, are you there first? I guess let's
Oh,
answer that
100%
question.
I'm there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there.
Okay, what's your record?
9-2.
Nine
Um,
and two. Oh, you're definitely
I'm
in there.
I am still. It's been 3 weeks and I'm still pissed off at Jamar Chase. um, because I was in first place and I would have been 10-1 this week. But yeah, no. So I've got one guy in front of me at 10-1. I'm 9-2, and then we've got two 7-4s, two 6-5s, two 5-6s. So I mean, those next two spots are wide open.
Pretty stiff competition.
I think it's a two-man or a four-team playoff. No, it's a 16 playoff. But as it stands right now, I would have a bye. I wouldn't play until week 15. This is Next week is our last week as a regular season, and then we are in the playoffs in my league. Um, so I'm pretty sure I've already got the bye. There's no possible way I can lose. Well, I guess there technically is. I can lose this week and next week, and then I'm out.
So you guys are starting the playoffs week 13, even though who has a bye week 14? There's teams with byes week 14.
Uh, I think so. I don't think that we have taken into account, and we didn't realize it until right now. I think that you know there's an extra week this year, so I think we need to move it another week. We did it so that teams that were already in the playoffs come the final week of fantasy, like you would sit your Tom Brady's, your Peyton Mannings to play the backups because you've already locked up the one seed.
Right.
And that cost me a championship a couple of times, and I wasn't very happy about it. So I was like, we need to move this back. We did. Now I think we can move it back because we can end week 17 instead of week 16.
Yeah.
Um, I need to bring that up. Thank you actually for
Yeah, it's no problem
mentioning
because
that.
I did the was looking at the scheduling. I said, "Oh, we're gonna have to do playoffs week 15, 16, and 17."
Right?
Just because it's those late week 14 buys. So
Who does
it
have a
gets
week
real
14?
interesting. Me personally, that's where I do my best work. I kind of look in there and see what the matchups are going to be looking like late. Which starters are going to get good carries. I know
Ooh.
there's a few people that I added to my team um, for those late weeks in the playoffs that I feel like
Mm-hmm.
are going to get great points. I added Gainwell because I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be playing week 16, 17
That's
that
smart.
much.
That's
I
smart.
added Valdez Scantley just because I think he's gonna get some touchdowns. I think the Saints have absolutely nothing to play for, but he's still gonna be scoring. He's still gonna be efficient. Because I don't see anyone like I don't see DeAndre Hopkins really getting that many touchdowns that late in the season, considering the Chiefs basically got playoffs locked up and things of that nature. Who
Yep.
else did I add on my team for my late playoff push? Let's see here. Gainwell. I also added Jalen Waddle. He was on the free agent list. He hasn't been good this year at all, but I mean, hey, he was there. You just never know with him. You can take
Yeah.
the chance. Miami has nothing really too much to play for, so you can see Jalen Waddle getting some touchdowns here. You can see Tyreek Hill finishing the season strong. Just because the incentives that are in contracts. Maybe he's trying to get that 1,000 yards or whatever the case may be. So we'll see. And San Francisco, they're 5-5, so George Kittle could be playing
Yeah.
until week 16. So I definitely look forward to that. Um, and hopefully going back to back. I'm looking to make a strong push to go back to back. Um, so with that being said, with the NFL season in real time, in week 12, getting ready to dwindle down. We got a lot of people returning from injury. We got Christian
Mhm.
McCaffrey coming back. He came back last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Um, Nico Collins just returned. Pacheco is slated to return. Mike Evans is slated to return. We
Hmm.
have some injuries to where people can make some significant splashes. So my question would be to you, Eric, which injury return do you think is going to be the most significant to which team going
I
into the
know
playoffs?
I know for a fact on my team it's Isaiah Pacheco because I'm ready to get that boom running back. Like I've spoke multiple times about my running back stable with Stevenson
Yeah.
Jacobs, Bijan, um, and it's just going to be nice to add Pacheco back into that mix.
Yes.
I will have four legitimate stud running backs, and I, as weak as my receiving core is right now, with Godwin hurt, right now Devontae Smith is hurt, and I mean I'm running with Hopkins, Pop Douglas, and Devon Vale and Jalen Coker today. Like those are my
Devontae
four.
Smith is out. He's hurt or he's out.
He's out. He's missing this game. I don't know. I think it's a hamstring issue, and
Ooh.
you know them hamstrings with them fast receivers.
I'm
Who
playing a guy
knows?
who has AJ Brown. Shit.
Yikes.
But I have Saquon. I have
Oh
Saquon, so it's kind of like we're good. We're
yeah,
good.
you're
We're
gonna
good.
end up with the more points anyway. But yeah, no. So I'm hoping in the off season I can flip a running back for a top tier receiver or a mid to late first round pick so that I could draft a guy coming out of college. Like I know it's not going to be McMillan from Arizona because he's probably going to be the first one off the board, but Travis Hunter maybe.
Yeah. Luther Burden.
Burden, yeah. I mean, there's a good crop of receivers, not as good as last year's crop, but there's a good crop of receivers coming out this year.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Um, I know for me in real time, uh, when you're thinking about people making playoff pushes, you got to talk about Mike Evans, right?
Yep,
Tampa Bay could definitely use Mike Evans. I think it'll help that pass game out, even the run game out, excuse me, even more with Rashad White and Bucky Irving. You also got to consider what CMC can add to San Francisco late run. They're 5-5 right now. So they're going to need to win at least 70% of the back end of their schedule.
yep,
And with Brock Purdy being out today, I can see them leaning heavy on Kittle and CMC.
yeah,
Um, but Pacheco, again, the champs, they suffered their first loss against Buffalo. It looks like Kareem Hunt has been a solid stand in, but with Pacheco back and Kareem Hunt continue to adding to that running game, it kind of makes Kansas City really, really dangerous going into the playoffs. So you've
it
got D
does.
Hop here. It's gonna open up the play action even more. You got Hunt, you got Pacheco back, you got D Hop, you got Travis Kelsey. Um,
Worthy still boom or bust. Like I
yeah,
mean, he's still out there. He can still burn. He can still burn.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just all
So
going to be according to what Andy Reid's calling on that Waffle House sheet.
yeah, so and their roster and their play calling again, like you said, it's gonna get very very creative towards the back end when it comes to the playoffs. So that's something I'm very very interested to see in real time. For me, I don't think I have any significant injuries returning on my fantasy team. So eh, we'll see how today go. Um, I'm facing the number two team. I'm the number three team, so this is going to be a very high intense matchup. Last time we played, we tied. We literally tied. So
Ooh,
yeah, and it's going to be a tough week. He has Justin Jefferson. He has AJ Brown. He has Lamar Jackson. But I'm still confident in my team. Damn it. I
yeah, you
still
should
feel
be.
like we're gonna win. Now, I will say Bijan is out, but I do have Rashad White as a replacement today. And I like for him to get some quality points. I like for Tyreek Hill to go ape shit on our Patriots.
Hey,
It is what it is. It is what it is. I will say this though, Christian Gonzalez kind of give Tyreek Hill a little bit of trouble. So
yeah.
hopefully they move him around a little bit and he gets some quality points. And so on, and so forth with that. But with that being said, and I talked about it, Eric, talk to me about your lineup. What lineup are you setting this week going into week 12 to secure you the W?
Well, it's funny you say you need Tyreek Hill to have a crazy day because I'm starting Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. So I also need Tua to throw for 1 billion yards against our defense. And I've got D Hop at receiver. I've got Pop Douglas at receiver. I've got Devon Vale at receiver. Um, I picked him
Good
up.
slot option. Good
I
slot
picked
option.
him up 2 weeks ago, um, just because I needed somebody there, and he did solid for me against Atlanta. Um, I mean, he's playing Vegas this week, so it's not like it's going to be a boom or bust kind of game. Vegas sucks. And then I got Jalen Coker, who's been solid for me. He is playing Kansas City. I don't expect a lot of points there, but it's better than Jalen Tolbert because I don't want Cooper Rush throwing anybody a football. And it's going to be a heavy dose of CD Lamb. And then at running back, I've got Kareem Hunt, Ramondre Stevenson, Josh Jacobs, the homies. No Bijan
Yeah.
this week,
I
so
know. I know. I know. I
but
needed Bijan this week.
I'm still expecting 12 plus points from each of those guys. So I'm not stressing. And then tight end, I've got the goat Brock Bowers. If it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers would be in top spot in my opinion for rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. Absolutely.
Man is insane. And then in my flex, I've got Mark Andrews because Devontae Smith's hurt. I don't have Bijan. Valdez Scantling's out. Um, I'm still not brave enough to start Adonai Mitchell yet after one good game and then back to obscurity. So that's what
I
my
would
offense is.
I would try him this week against the Lions. I'm not. The Lions they have a okay secondary. Carlton Davis, you probably see him on the outside more, so to where Adonai could eat a little bit. That's just my opinion.
He did have 6 targets last week.
I mean, listen, they're
Hmm.
saying Anthony Richardson is coming in more confident than ever, and we'll see. Maybe this back end of the uh, maybe this back end of the season, he just creeps into that top 12. Right? That was a bet. Top 12. Top 12
Slowly,
keep.
slowly creeps in. I'm
He
hey,
had
whatever.
so he had 40 points last week, right?
Yeah,
So I mean,
I need to check and see where that puts him in my league actually. Um, just so I know what we're looking at. I think you might have swayed me. I did just move AD into the flex over Mark Andrews. Andrews,
I would get rid of Pop. If I would move anybody, I would move Pop Douglas out.
hey, you know what, man? Pop is my boy. Pop has legitimately the last 3 weeks 7 points, 7 points, 7 points. So I'm fine with that consistency. If I can just get those consistents, that's all I'm looking for, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So Pop's got to start to spot my lineup right now.
That's
Um,
fair.
and plus I need a Patriot. Um, kicker, I've got Jake Moody. I've been running with Will Reichard all year. He's been hurt the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So I've been rolling with Jake Moody. And then defensively, I'm excited. My defense is finally looking semi-healthy. I've got Brian Branch and N'Kobe Dean at my flex D. I've got Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jalen Petrie at DB. I've got
Nice.
my boy Christian Barmore and Leonard Williams at D line. And then I've got
Mm.
Ivan Pace Jr. and Levante David at linebacker. With Nick Bosa being out this week, um, Leonard Williams was needed to pick up, so I picked him up against Arizona. Their line's not great. I know Leonard Williams isn't the sexy flash name he used to be, but
Right.
he can get me some points.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm very excited for Christian Barmore to be back. I've been waiting on that all
CB.
year.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Was
say
like
I was gonna wait till you get done talking. CB is back.
waiting on
CB
that
is
all
back.
year, boy. I
Yeah.
love Christian Barmore. That man is going to feast when he's healthy.
Yeah, CB is back. CB is back. So definitely look forward to that. So yeah, that's a pretty great starting lineup. So luck to you, and we
Thank
we
you.
definitely want to make sure you get that W. We can't be the triple coverage fantasy pod and we stink in fantasy. So with
Fair.
that being said, again, week 12, I'm 7-3-1. I'm going into battle. QBs, I have Jordan Love and I have Matthew Stafford. I have Love against San Fran and I have Stafford against Philly. I'm going to go with Jordan Love here. I think
Yeah.
with no Bosa, San Fran has been kind of inconsistent. I think Jordan Love lights it up in San Fran. They have him slated for 30, but I hope he gets 50. I hope he gets 50. so so I have Jordan Love there. Wide receiver, I have Tyreek Hill and Sutton. Now,
Okay.
Sutton, they're saying he's not a good start this week just because of how the Raiders play the outside receiver. I'm hoping they're wrong. Sutton, I need at least 10 to 14 points for you. Running back, I have Saquon. He's going against the Rams. And why it doesn't look favorable on paper, I still think Saquon is going to be able to produce me 25 to 30 points at the running back position.
Yeah.
Uh, since Bijan is out this week, he has been replaced with Rashad White, Tampa Bay. They're playing the Giants, so I think Rashad White is going to get me some great points. Hopefully, Rashad White is that one week where it's a player that just explodes and you're like, whoa, and he's never going to do that again. But
This needs to
hopefully,
be that
it's
week.
yeah, it needs to be this week. I have George Kittle here. He's against Green. He's going against Green Bay, uh, which I think he's gonna light it up against Green Bay. And in the flex position, I have D Hop. I do have Jordan Addison on my bench, and I have Waddle as well. And Addison had a good game last week, but he's playing Chicago, and he's been inconsistent. So I wasn't comfortable putting him in that flex spot.
That's
So I went
fair.
ahead and I rode with D Hop. D Hop has come down from that one amazing Monday night game, so hopefully he picks it up this week. I do see Mahomes looking for more and more each week. He makes some good catches, so I'm comfortable with D Hop in the flex. Kicker, I got Farbane for Houston, which was on the free agent wire. He has been a phenomenal kicker this year. In fact, he is just outside of the 100 players for Yahoo. He's at 101, so he's had a lot of double digit kicking games. Defense this week, I went with Kansas City against Carolina. They run a lot of blitzes, exotic blitzes, things of that nature. They're going against Bryce Young, so I don't anticipate Bryce Young really kind of lighting it up. So I went with Kansas City defense there. And for individual defensive player, I went with the Chargers' top leading tackler, D. Henley. We know Baltimore likes to run, whether it be with Lamar, whether it be with um, uh, Derrick Henry, or even Hill catching passes out of the backfield, and even with Mark Andrews, kind of in the middle of the field. So that's my individual defensive player for the week, going into battle, and hopefully I come out 8-3-1. Again, I'm confident, even though the deck is stacked against me. I am confident. I will say this: my opponent, he made a slip up. He started Najee Harris on Thursday. He said he had a feeling. Najee Harris only gave him 7 points. So I am definitely happy about that. Hopefully, Rashad White can win that matchup and
Yep.
double the points that Najee Harris provided for my opponent. So we're looking into having a good week. And we're actually going to be back again. It's going to be a short week because Thanksgiving coming up. And what is fantasy football? What's football in general without the Thanksgiving games? Which games are you excited for? It's a lot going on Thanksgiving. So
Man, I'm excited
what are
for
you
all
excited
of
for?
them. uh, Miami Green Bay, even though Miami's record is trash, I mean that should be a good game. Um, you know, that's probably the one that I'm looking most forward to. I don't care about Dallas and the Giants. That's going to be such a cluster trash of a game. Uh, um, I'm trying to see what the early game is. I know it's got to be Detroit,
Detroit,
right?
Chicago, right?
Detroit, Chicago. Yeah, that's probably going to be a good game too. Because there's a lot of implications there for that NFC North.
Yes. And for
Because
Caleb,
yeah,
show up. It's the Thanksgiving game. It's a time honored tradition. Me being from Michigan, Lions football was a must on Thanksgiving.
yep,
If they were good or not, because for majority of my lifetime they stunk, but it still was a must.
exactly.
So
Like that's sometimes that's the only time. Like when I was younger, that's the only time I would watch like a Detroit game or a Cowboys game because it was on Thanksgiving while I'm eating my turkey and going into a coma. But now we watch whatever we can watch 24/7 because it's obsessive.
no, most
um,
definitely.
and then you got that Black Friday game too. You've got who is it? It's Kansas City Chiefs and the Vegas Raiders, or yeah, Vegas Raiders. I keep wanting to call them Oakland just because like
Yeah,
golly.
I get it. I get it.
Um, because I still call the Chargers San Diego half the time too. Um, that should be fun for fantasy. um,
I'll be
watch,
honest. The Raiders play the Chiefs really
they
damn
do,
good. They
they
play them
do.
really damn good every year. Because I had Mahomes last year, and I think they played them on like Christmas or something
Yep,
like that. And Mahomes had like 22 points. I was like, what the hell?
it's always that one team that plays like we had it when we went down to Miami every single year. It didn't matter who we had. We couldn't beat Miami in Miami. And it's just funny now that Kansas City has their Miami and it's Vegas.
Most definitely. So I have another question for you. News came out this week. Daniel Jones was being released by the Giants. Do you see him finding a home? And if so, before the end of the season?
Yeah, I think he'll have a job by the end of this week.
Where do you think, or who do you think would pick up Daniel Jones at this point of the season?
Dallas.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Dallas needs a
Dallas,
quarterback.
yeah.
And you know what? Cooper Rush ain't good, but Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones is better.
Unfortunately, um, and he has a little bit more to work with receiving core wise.
Yep, I can see it. I
Do
mean,
you think?
Dallas doesn't have anything to play for.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Do you think he goes to Dallas start? You think he gets a backup role? You think maybe Seattle's looking for a backup?
Seattle could be interesting. I think he
You
would go straight to Dallas to start on a 1 year contract, and then depending on what happens the rest of the year. I mean, there's been rumors that Dak will get traded, just
so
depending on. I don't know. It's an interesting thought to think that Dallas would pick up Daniel Jones and then immediately ship Dak off, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. But it's fun to speculate on. But
so so I'm looking here and I see that they say the likely teams for him to land is the Ravens and the Vikings.
I could see
Hmm.
Minnesota being an interesting choice too. Him and Jay Jetta.
But Sam Darnold's been playing well for you.
He's been slowing down a little bit, but I mean, like, I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I would still pick Sam Darnold over Daniel Jones.
Me too. Fight
That
on,
hurt.
fight on, fight on.
That hurt to say. Ooh, Baltimore, I guess, in case Lamar gets injured. Knock on all the wood, because I do not want to see Lamar get hurt. Um,
At what point you think Baltimore is going to stop letting Lamar put up 50 points, 50 fantasy points a game, and make, like, at what point are we going to kind of push the reins back because we have a legitimate chance of winning a Super Bowl here?
that's a really good question, because a lot of their offense does rely on Lamar's legs, especially, and we've heard it from Adrian for multiple weeks in a row now with the butterfingers that his receiving core has. I don't think they can. I think it's going to have to be Lamar's legs that win him games, him and Derrick Henry, unless Bateman and Flowers and Andrews and Likely, they can all get them fingers back to where they should be catching the ball. Because if you don't have a deep threat, you've got to you've got to run out of the pocket, make something happen, and then take off when you can. I mean, I can't see a time when they just make Lamar a pocket passer right now, because his receivers aren't there. There's no good receiver in Baltimore.
Because it's like, man, it's week 12. Lamar is clearly sewn up the MVP, in my opinion.
100%.
And uh, I mean, what more are we looking for Baltimore? We know they're going into the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure they're at the top of the AFC North, correct? Or wait, Steelers, Pittsburgh, right?
But Pittsburgh just lost.
See, you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, at what point do we maybe we run them for a half and then
Oh no, Pittsburgh still is up. They're up a game.
because they beat Baltimore. That's
Yeah,
probably
they're
what it
eight.
because they beat.
Pittsburgh's 8-3 and Baltimore 7-4.
Wow, Baltimore only lost 7 games. For some reason, I thought they were like 9-2 or something.
No, that's unfortunately Buffalo, and the Chiefs are 9-1. The AFC South is just interesting. Um,
Wow, that's crazy.
so at that point, you've got to keep your best player doing the best things, and that's Lamar.
So we heavy dosing of Lamar. Hopefully, he stays healthy during that because he's having a hell of a season. And again,
Yeah,
to me, MVP is already wrapped up. If his season
yeah,
ended today, whatever the case may be, I would still give him the MVP. Um, just
yeah. No,
because he's been that dynamic and that phenomenal up until this point. So we will see how that goes and how everything turned out. So again, we're having a short week. Thanksgiving is coming up. So Eric, before we sign off, let them know about the socials. Also, let them know. Yeah, the socials. That's it.
all right. So you already know we're on the Twitters at Three Coverage Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow. Still trying to get that up. Um, if we can get enough interest, and if we can get the homies all lined up on Thanksgiving, we might give the Twitch a try.
Yeah, or just get people rotating in and
Yeah,
out, and
yeah. Do some
no,
lives, talk
yeah,
football, watch
of
us
course.
stuff our faces with 19 different plates of
Oh man, I
20,000
just look
different
forward
foods.
to.
What's on your Thanksgiving roster? There we go. What's on your Thanksgiving
Wait, I
roster?
was gonna save that for Thanksgiving. Your starting Thanksgiving plate roster. Let's say
Okay. We'll save that
we
for
can save
Thanksgiving
that.
Day
We
then.
can save
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, no, give us a follow on the socials. We love interacting, we love talking. Clearly we love talking football. And then give Suplex Dinner Club a follow. You might see us on some other projects soon. So
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, um, college football season is winding down, so we're definitely going to be in the mix talking playoffs, college football, talking about our teams' seasons, and we're going to be looking forward to the draft because fantasy football never stops. I have Travis Hunter, have Ashton Gentry all on my board because I will be looking to add those pieces next year, just depending on where they go. If Travis Hunter goes to
Exactly.
Jacksonville, I'm definitely not.
Yeah. I had made a rule like 4 years ago. Anybody that goes to Jacksonville, I avoid. And it works out well for me. I traded Calvin Ridley after he went to Jacksonville. Never looked back. Uh, I half thought about picking up Tank Bigsby. Nope.
Uh,
ETN I didn't think would do good. Not wrong. And I knew Trevor Lawrence coming out of college was going to be a bust in Jacksonville. Nobody wanted to believe me. Here we are.
And if I'm Jacksonville, hey man, I put the heat on Trevor Lawrence. Cam Ward is sitting there. I wouldn't take him at number one, but I would move out the number one spot. And hey, Cam Ward is sitting there. Shador Sanders. I'm pretty confident that Jerry Jones is going to be aggressive in getting Shador. I'm pretty confident in that. But there's a lot of good QBs sitting there. And again, I'm not going to take them at one. If I'm Jacksonville, they have the bandwidth to move down. Um, there's not a player at that number one spot that's going to make that roster significantly better. But if you move down and you get those pieces, as a collective, they can make the roster significantly better. So
I agree. And that's just like, they always say there's never one piece that can fix your team, but us as Patriots fans, I think we know if we get that star wide receiver, we're out the bottom of that basement at this point, especially
yeah,
with I'm gonna eat my words, especially with how good Drake May has looked.
again, here's my thing. He's just gonna have to show me. Like he's gonna have to take it to the threshold week by
Just
week.
next year, not this year.
Yeah, he has to take it to the threshold. Me personally, I still think there's some things. Just being a Patriot fan, watching some of our schemes and what we like to do. We like to play a lot of man coverage. I think we need better cornerbacks. We definitely need that true number one wide receiver. After what I've seen from T. Higgins these last few weeks, I'm sold on paying T. Higgins.
Oh, I want to pay him some money.
I would much rather pay T. Higgins than draft a wide receiver. Free agency is coming up,
Yeah,
which
we still got a lot to talk about for
yeah,
fantasy.
yeah,
Season don't end in week
yeah.
15,
No,
16.
most definitely it don't. Most definitely it don't. But our time today, and we are gonna get ready to watch these games. Again, best of luck to you, Eric, and to our boy Zach. Zach,
Yes,
happy
sir.
birthday and
Happy birthday.
congratulations on the big win for your Auburn Tigers.
I ain't
We
giving
will
him that.
see you on Thanksgiving, hopefully. Hopefully, Zach is back for Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir. I'm
All
not
right.
giving him that happy win.
Uh,
Can't do it. Can't do it.
all righty. With that being said, we are the Triple Coverage Fantasy Podcast powered by the Suplex Dinner Club. We out. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your football games.
Peace.